Welcome back, everyone. It's Dina Meta here with CWW7 News. And for today's broadcast, I wanted to bring you some updates concerning the United States and North Korea, as well as Belgium and Syria. In fact, I'd like to start with Syria. Sputnik News, as well as other sources, are reporting that the United States is considering a new attack on the Syrian government. And this is according to a national intelligence chief. Here's that report.
A potential decision by Washington to take new military actions against Damascus would mark the second U.S. strike on Syria in less than a year. The Trump administration is considering new attacks against the Syrian government in response to reports of chemical weapons use. Last week, President Donald Trump had discussed the possibility of a new military action against the Syrian government as a punitive measure, citing Damascus allegedly used chemical weapons in eastern Ghouta. The discussion came shortly after the infamous White Helmets reported that 3 civilians had been killed and dozens more had been wounded in a suspected chlorine gas attack. It goes on further to report on April 7, 2017, the U.S. launched 59 Tomahawk missiles at the Syrian military airfield in response to the alleged use of chemical weapons in Syria's Idlib, which Washington blamed on the Syrian government. The allegations were denied by Damascus. Russia described the attack as an aggression against a sovereign state.
If the United States strikes Syria again, you know that Russia will react. Just last week, I brought you guys a report in regards to President Putin stating that any attack on his allies is an attack on Russia. So this is definitely something we want to keep an eye on, and I will definitely continue to keep you updated. But I'd like to move on and talk about China next. I have a report here from The Hill, and they are reporting that the United States military is warning that China is now weaponizing their capital.
Top Navy and Marine Corps officials on Wednesday expressed concern over China's expanding global reach and said the superpower was rapidly buying up foreign land to win without fighting. Secretary Rich Spencer stated that when it comes to China, the bottom line is the checkbook, not only in dollars and cents that they are writing to support their military expansion and their technological work, but what they're doing around the globe, weaponizing capital. Spencer referred to Beijing's current funding of the Sri-Lankan port project, a move not done as aid, but rather in order to secure it for themselves. China has said the project is part of its $1.4 trillion Belt and Road Initiative, which is meant to bolster trade routes by extending roads outside the country and building up ports. Spencer stated that their open checkbook keeps me up at night. Marine Corps Commander General Robert Neller, who also spoke, said the Chinese are playing the long game. Their concern with human rights is not there. They've got big bags of cash. They're buying airfields and ports to extend their reach. They want to win without fighting. Neller also pointed to a Russian threat in all domains, including underseas, in the air, and on the ground. He said the Russians, I think, are a little more in your face. I don't think they want to fight us personally, but I think they want to be able to impose their will and use intimidation. Neller also added that Russia is using its military involvement in the Syrian civil war as a live fire evaluation for its systems. He said, "We pay attention to it. It's something we watch." Meanwhile, Spencer stated that when it comes to Russia, one of the things that keeps him up at night is their underwater capabilities. They never let up on that.
As Russia and China continue to prepare, Belgium is not far behind. RT News is reporting that Belgium has distributed millions of iodine pills to its citizens for free.
Pharmacies have begun receiving some of the 4.5 million boxes of iodine pills, which have been available for citizens for free since Tuesday. The distribution of the medicine, which is considered beneficial for radiation-affected citizens, came as an updated emergency plan. In 2017, the government launched a website explaining to its 11 million citizens step by step what to do in case of a nuclear accident. The alert states that in emergency situations, citizens should always follow recommendations of the authorities, which include seeking shelter, following evacuation orders, and taking iodine pills. One of the dangers of a nuclear disaster is the release of radioactive iodine, which can be accumulated in the thyroid gland and cause thyroid cancer. Taking iodine pills, also known as potassium iodine, before or at the beginning of exposure can prevent the cancer. According to Belgian Interior Minister, Brussels is trying to properly inform the public, adding that all measures are solely precautionary and the nuclear facilities present present no threat. It goes on further to report, Belgium is not the first European country to issue iodine to its citizens. Back in 2017, the Netherlands government, also concerned about the aging reactors across its border in Belgium, ordered millions of iodine pills for its citizens in case of a nuclear disaster.
I have to give Belgium some credit. That's actually a very smart move that they're doing for their citizens. There is nothing wrong with being prepared in case of a disaster, especially during these times that we are living in right now. But I will definitely continue to keep you updated as these reports continue to be developed. But I'd like to move on and talk about North Korea next. Apparently, North Korea met with South Korea just yesterday, and this was actually very big news. North Korea stated that they were willing to meet with the United States and also possibly denuclearize. However, Reuters is reporting that South Korea still sees familiar hurdles ahead. Here's that report.
With the specter of two past summits that failed to blunt North Korea's nuclear ambitions, South Korean officials planning talks next month now face the thorny task of overcoming familiar sticking points with the threat of war looming over any failure. A South Korean delegation returned home on Tuesday from a first-ever meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. South Korean officials see the talks as a starting point of the South Korean president's initiative to denuclearize and build lasting peace on the peninsula, beginning with a freeze in the North's nuclear program and ending in its complete abolishment. A senior South Korean official stated on condition of anonymity, while pursuing a fundamental resolution of the standoff, we need to take some initial denuclearization steps, putting a halt to further testing and returning to dialogue. One could argue we would be deceived by the North, as we have been for the last 20 years. But that's the past. We have different people and different programs now. However, former officials in Washington and Tokyo reacted with skepticism to the North's offer of talks on denuclearization, seeing a familiar pattern of threats followed by talks that failed to win significant concessions. Chief among the disagreements that have scuttled past efforts to defuse the standoff is North Korea's request for security guarantees in return for abandoning its nuclear weapons. During talks with Moon's envoys this week, the North expressed its willingness to denuclearize if military threats against it are eliminated and the security of its regime is guaranteed without presenting precise conditions. The South Korean official stated, "This means it is up to them to decide whether the security is guaranteed or not, and that means they have full control." It goes on further to report that North Korea has protested South Korea-U.S. joint military drills as a rehearsal of war. It has also called the roughly 28,000 American troops stationed in South Korea a potential invasion force. Moon's special advisor has raised the possibility for a possible pullout of U.S. forces, saying the president has a right to let them out. However, the South Korean president declined to comment, stating, "We will see." Express News is reporting that President Trump holding peace talks with North Korea will not result in denuclearization, as Kim Jong-un's nuclear regime remains only a matter of months away from being capable of striking the United States, says former U.S. Ambassador John Bolton. Donald Trump stated that there was possible progress, but warned the talks, which were attended by Kim and his wife and sister, could be false hope. Speaking on Fox News, the former U.S. ambassador stated that South Korea is like putty in North Korea's hands, as he warned the talks are only an effort to prolong further sanctions. Mr. Bolton demanded that America should not let Kim Jong-un get to the point in which he is capable of striking the U.S. with nuclear weapons. He said, "I don't think we should let them get to that point, and that prediction is based in part on what CIA Director Mike Pompeo has been saying, that they are within a handful of months of being able to hit targets in the United States. I think if they get nuclear weapons, they are a threat in East Asia." The former U.S. ambassador said the talks are a temporary device by North Koreans to buy time to make progress on its nuclear program. He warned that they may not need to have any more nuclear tests. That's what the freeze proposal may mean. Now they must just be manufacturing nuclear devices. He also added any prospect of actually finding out what they are up to would have to be so intrusive, so large, so pervasive across the country that it would threaten the stability of the dictator itself. That is one reason among many why it will never happen. He said the talks, which excluded U.S. negotiators, were being watched by the entire world, but urged caution and sensible expectations. President Trump tweeted on Tuesday, "Possible progress being made in talks with North Korea. For the first time in many years, a serious effort is being made by all parties concerned. The world is watching and waiting. Maybe false hope, but the U.S. is ready to go hard in either direction." There has not been an immediate response from North Korea.
Is it possible that the United States and North Korea can actually sit down and have peaceful discussions? And let's take it a step further. Will North Korea denuclearize? They said that they were looking in that direction, but will they actually do it? My personal opinion, I don't think they will. They've worked too hard to build up their nuclear arsenal to just denuclearize right now. But I want to hear from you guys. Leave your comments in the comments section. Tell me what you think. I would love to hear from you. Also, come and visit us on Facebook where we have these stories and many more, as well as our website at www.cww7news.org. All right, everybody, I will see you in my next video. God bless.